In my recent videos, I've received all sorts of comments, both supportive and negative as usual. What interests me the most is that many of the commenters either inquire or simply claim with certainty that I take a particular side, either in the Russia-West relations, or in the Russian war with Ukraine, or in the Russian Orthodox Church relations with the world. Some say that I'm definitely a Ukrainian, or that I'm directly paid by the EU or the CIA. Others say that I'm promoting the doctrines and propaganda of the Putin's regime and the Russian Patriarch. Let's discuss which side I am on really and who pays me to say what I say. The second question is an easy one. I do research in Russian Christianity for a living and I work at the university. I work on this channel in my free time and no one pays me for that, not even YouTube, because the channel is not monetized. As I always respond in the comments, if the CIA, Ukrainian government, Putin or the Russian Patriarch are supposedly paying me, where do I get my paycheck? On a more serious note, in the world of the modern social media, especially shaped by Twitter, now X, with its limitations on the message size, people became insensitive to details and complicated opinions. Since at least 2016, if not earlier, most online voices split into two big camps, usually called left and right, and both lost a human touch. If you want to belong to either of the camps, you should subscribe to certain opinions in a long list of key issues, like abortion, migration, sex and gender, to name just a few. If you have an opinion that does not fit the agendas of these two camps, your position is even worse. You are being ostracized by both of them, and you could be labeled a Nazi and a libtard at the same time. When it comes to Russia and all the military, political and cultural conflicts she is currently in, there are such lists of key issues as well. The so-called pro-Russians are expected to not only support the Russian invasion into Ukraine, but also to be pro-Orthodox or pro-Russian Islam as a conventional alternative, to be anti-LGBT, anti-West in general, especially when it comes to culture, and morally conservative and traditional. The opposing party is expected to fully support Ukrainian state and military, generally share the multiculturalist agenda, including LGBT rights, and to view the modern Russia as murder and a hellhole. I am a university researcher, trained in critical thinking. This caused me some friction in academia, and I even switched disciplines when social anthropology, the field I used to work in, turned into political activism more than a research discipline. But you don't need to get a special training or read special books to see that radical division only causes harm and leads to hostility and violence. Whatever issue you take, when you dive a little deeper and study it a little more, you see that nothing is black or white, good or bad, virtuous or evil. Both sides might come from a good place, even though their fanaticism, zeal, and simple-mindedness might turn ugly. Which side I'm on in the conflict between Russia and the West, Russia and Ukraine, or the Russian Church and the world? I have strong opinions, but I'm not taking sides. I love my motherland even though I don't know if and when I can visit again. I was born and lived there for more than 30 years. I have most of my extended family there, many friends and memories. I have traveled across the country, though not as much as I wanted to. I love the people, I understand them, and I feel them. Obviously, there are many things that turned ugly, and it hasn't started in the last decade. A sort of a negative selection, when the best people are either shut down, eliminated, or forced to leave the country, is going on for centuries. This negative selection is why people vote like they vote, why they live one day at a time without much hope for the future, and why they eagerly report each other to the authorities. I also love Ukraine. I don't know it as good, yet I have friends and colleagues there. I've traveled to Ukraine 4 times, of which 3 were when I was a child. I don't have family members left there, but their graves. My children have some Ukrainian blood from their mother's side. When it comes to the war, it is a great atrocity. It should have never started, and I want the bloodshed to end. Obviously, the Ukrainian state has been weak, and it still is extremely corrupted, which led to the very possibility of the war. As usual, the civilians and young military men on both sides pay the ultimate price. There will be a generational trauma, whatever the outcome of this war is. When it comes to the Russian Church, I have been critical of the Patriarch, his apparatus, and many bishops. However, as I have claimed repeatedly, the Church is much more than that. I personally know too many genuine Orthodox believers, both laymen and clergy. Whether supportive of their leadership or not, their church is the body of Christ for them. This body has sores, it aches, but it is still holy and sacred. I have tremendous respect for the church in that sense, and especially for the sincere believers worshiping their God. Please like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. I see you all next time.